Hey everyone, this is Abhilasha AKA TheTechGirl, and welcome back to my 10th board exam prep series. I know math is difficult and it can be overwhelming, but don't worry, I'm here to make it simple and fun for you. Just a couple of hours a day, and you'll be prepared for your board exams very soon. Today, we are covering quadratic equation. This is the chapter 4 in your NCRT syllabus. This is extremely important and holds around 7 to 8% of weightage in your exam. We will break it down into small steps and concepts so that you will be able to solve it like a pro by the end of this class. Stay till the end for practice questions. Let's get started. Let's start with the basic. What exactly is quadratic equations? Quadratic equation is any equation in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers and a is not equal to 0. Why is it important that a is not equal to 0? Because if a is 0, then this term will become 0. And then this will be nothing but a linear equation. The term that makes a quadratic equation is that you have a term, a variable with power of 2. The highest power of quadratic equation is always going to be the degree of quadratic equation is 2, right? So for some examples of quadratic equations are like this: 2x squared plus 3x minus 5 equal to 0. See, this sign in the standard form is plus, okay? So if there is a negative sign, that means that is for c. So in this case, c is equal to negative 5, okay? In the next example, a is equal to 1. So x squared minus 7x plus 10. So in this, b is equal to negative 7. And 4x squared plus 9 equal to 0. In this case, b is equal to 0. Okay. So RHS is always going to be 0 in quadratic equation. So let's say you have an equation written in the form x squared minus 2x is equal to 4. Is this a quadratic equation? Yes, it is. Why? You can write it like this. Correct? So your b is negative 2, c is negative 4, and a is 1. And RHS is 0. So this is your, and the highest degree of this equation is 2. So this is your quadratic equation. Now, what is not a quadratic equation? Let's see some examples of that. X cubed minus 2x is equal to 5. Why? Because the degree of this equation is 3 and not 2. Similarly, 3x plus 7 equal to 0 is not a quadratic equation because degree is 1 and not 2. I hope that's clear. So let's move on to what are the real life applications of quadratic equation, right? As a kid, we have always wondered, why do we use math? Where do we use math? Why are we doing all of these tedious equations and concepts? We never use them, but they are always present around us. And as you grow older, you will see that in physics, you use quadratic equation and motion equations like S is equal to ut plus half at squared. This is a quadratic equation where t is your variable. Yeah. Then for calculating profit and loss, we are using, simple interest, compound interest. We are using quadratic equation and that. Then in architecture, to find the area of shapes, area of different location, to be able to figure out how to make these fancy buildings. You have seen fancy buildings, but during the architecture, the architect has to calculate everything to the precision so that there is no scope of error. Otherwise, the building might fall, right? So these are the places where the quadratic equations are used in real life. Let's look at one of the examples of real life application. A charity trust wants to build a prayer hall with an area of 300 meters square. The length is 1 meter more than twice its breadth. What are the dimensions? So what information do we have? That a charity trust wants to make a prayer hall. They have the requirement that the area should be 300 meters. Okay. Now, they are given that the length is going to be 1 meter more than twice the breadth. So, let's say if breadth is your x meters, right? Then your length is 1 meter more than twice. So, you do twice the breadth plus 1 meters. So, that's your length. Now, we know the formula for area because this is a rectangle. And we know the value of length and breadth. So, the formula for area is nothing but length into breadth. Now, your length is 2x plus 1. Your breadth is x. When you multiply it, you get 2x squared plus x minus 300 equal to 0 because area is given, right? Area is 300. So this is how you get this equation. We are going to use this equation, this quadratic equation. Uh, we will solve it later using factorization and other methods. We will look at that later in the video, okay? For now, this is how you create the equation. Once you have this equation, it's very simple, smooth sailing from here. So the difficult part is to break down the question to form this equation. So always break down the question into different parts, smaller parts. Okay, read. A charity trust wants to build a prayer hall. Okay, they want to build a prayer hall. Normally, prayer halls can be circular in shape, rectangular in shape, square in shape, right? Until now, we don't know what is that. Then we know the area should be 300 meters square. Then they are given length and breadth. That means it's going to be a rectangular. So now you know it's a rectangular hall with the area of 300 meters square. You know the relationship between length and breadth. So you are able to find the dimensions of length and breadth. Sounds good? Now, once we get that quadratic equations, there are three methods to solve them. What are these three methods? Okay, first is factorization method. Then second is quadratic formula method. And third is completing the square method. Let's look at these one by one in detail to understand which one is better for us, which one is good for which situation, what kind of formula we want to use. Now, to solve factorization method, we are first going to express the quadratic equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So any equation we might have, right? We may have equation as x plus 3, x minus 1 plus 4, something, something, 5, okay? Let's just say this equation we have, okay? So what we are going to do, we are going to firstly convert it into this form. This will become x squared minus x plus 4x plus 3x minus 3 plus 12 is equal to 5. So you have one term of x squared, you write x squared. Then you have minus x, 4x, and 3. So 4x plus 3x is 7x minus x is 6x. Then you have minus 3 plus 12, which is 9. And then this 5 also comes here, right? Negative 5. So 9 minus 5 is 4. So you get 4 and then equal to. So now that you have this equation, split the middle term into 2. So you're going to split this term into 2 parts such that it adds up to bx and multiply to ac. A is 1 in this case and c is 4. So whatever number you're splitting it into, it should come as 1 into 4, which is 4, right? So when you multiply it, it should be 4. When you add it, it should be 6. In this example, that's not possible. We will see how to solve this example later. But for now, and then you factor the equation and then set each factor to 0 and solve for x. That's how you get the value of x. In quadratic equation, you're going to get two values of x. So let's see this example. You have x squared minus 5x plus 6 equal to 0. What you're going to do, you're going to factor this middle term. Now, this is already in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, right? So you're going to now split the middle term. So you're going to split bx such that your ac is 1 times 6, which is 6. And so if you split 6, you get 1 into 6, 2 into 3, 3 into 2, and 6 into 1, right? So these are same, so we always write only once. Once it starts repeating, we don't have to. So you got this. Now, 6 minus 1, you get 5, which is what we want. Yes. But since 6 is a bigger number, you'll have to do either negative 6 plus 1. So you get negative 5. But if you do negative 6 plus 1, negative 6 times 1 is going to give you negative 6, which is not a into c. So this is not an option. Now 2 into 3. So if you do negative 2 times negative 3, you get 6, which is a into c. And negative 2, negative 3 gives you negative 5, which is the middle term. So this is the correct option to use in this case. Yeah. So what we are going to do, we are going to split x squared minus 5x plus 6 equal to 0 as x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6 equal to 0. Now, you take common x from these two, and then you take 3 as common from these two, negative 3 as common. Now you take x minus 2 as common, and then you are left with x minus 3 is equal to 0. Now you solve for x with each. So x minus 2 equal to 0 or x minus 3 equal to 0. Yes? Because this is product, right? So one of the two has to be 0 to come as 0. So you're going to do this. So x value is either 3 or 2. Okay, so that's your final answer. The next method is quadratic formula method. Okay, so what is quadratic formula method? There is a formula that we use to find the value of x. Okay, the formula is x is equal to negative b plus minus b square minus, oh, I forgot to add a root, square root over 2a. Okay, so this is the formula. Now we have to identify the value of a, b, and c in an equation. And then we have to calculate the discriminant. So discriminant is nothing but this, the value inside the root. That is b square minus 4ac is your discriminant of the equation. And then you put these values on this in this equation. You get one value with plus, then one value with minus. So you have two x values, right? So one x value is minus b, sorry. So your one x value is minus b plus root b square minus 4ac over 2a. And second value is minus b minus root b square minus ac by a. That's what you mean by plus minus, that you're going to get two different values. Okay? So that's the formula we are going to use. Let's look at example to see how to do this. Now, we have an equation 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 equal to 0. We know here a value is 2, b is negative 3, and c is 1. Firstly, we are going to calculate discriminant. What is the formula for discriminant? B squared minus 4ac. B squared is nothing but negative 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times 1. So you get 9 minus 4, 8 is equal to 1. So now you're going to use the formula. We have x is equal to negative b plus minus b over 2a. So negative b is negative of negative 3 plus minus root of 1 upon 2 plus minus root of 1 upon 2 times 2. So you get 3 plus minus 1 because root of 1 is just 1 and upon 4. So one value of x is going to be 4 over 4, that is 1, and another is 2 over 4, which is 0.5. So these are the two values of x that you get. Now, the last method is completing the square method. What is completing the square method? You convert the equation in the form x squared minus plus bx is equal to minus c. So far we were converting every equation into ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, right? But if you notice here, you're going to convert it into x squared plus bx is equal to minus c. So even a is gone. Yeah? So you're going to convert that. Then you're going to add or subtract b by 2 square. And then you will express that as a square and solve for x. How do we do that? This is confusing. I don't understand. Let's see an example. Okay? So you have an equation x squared minus 6x plus 5 equal to 0. What you're going to do? Firstly, you're going to convert it into x squared minus 6x plus is equal to negative 5. So that's how you do it. Let's say if there was a value, okay? So if it was 2x squared minus 6x plus 5 equal to 0, how would you convert it? You will convert it by x squared minus 6 by 2x equal to negative 5 by 2 because you divide the whole equation both sides by 2 so that you get 1 here. Okay, that's what you do. Now, after doing that, you have b. B value is 6. So 6 by 2. So you add both sides. 6 by 2 square. 6 by 2 square is nothing but 9. Why? Because 6 by 2 is 3. 3 square is 9. So you have x square minus 6x and then you are adding 9. So negative 5 plus 9. Okay. Now if you see, if you can split this, you get x square minus 2 into x into 3 is equal to, sorry, plus 3 square is equal to 4. Correct? So this looks familiar. What does it look like? This looks like a minus b whole square is equal to a square minus 2ab plus b square. Yeah? So you, by using this formula, you will convert this into, so you have a as x and b as negative 3. So you're going to do x minus 3 whole square is equal to 4. Now that you have that, you can take the square root of both sides. So you get x minus 3 is equal to root 4, which is nothing but x minus 3 is equal to plus minus 2. Because plus 2 square is also 4 and minus 2 square is also 4. So when you take the square root of 4, you get plus minus 2. So now that you have x is equal to plus minus 2, you have x minus 3 is equal to plus minus 2. You write x is equal to plus 2 plus 3, which is 5. And then x is equal to minus 2 plus 3, which is 1. So you get the value of x as 5 and 1. What we did today, we did the quadratic equation. Quadratic equation is any equation in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, where a is not equal to 0. Then there are methods to solve quadratic equation. There are 3 methods: factorization, quadratic formula, and completing the square method. In factorization method, you split the middle term and then factorize. In quadratic formula, you use the formula x is equal to negative b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac over 2a. Please ignore that I have not written under root here. Then completing the square method, you convert the equation into perfect square and then solve it. What is the formula for discriminant? Discriminant is b square minus 4ac. One of the things about discriminant is if the value of d is greater than 0, then you're going to get 2 distinct real roots. So there will be 2 real values of x. If you will get d is equal to 0, then you will get 1 repeated root. So x will be, you will get 2 value here, x1 and x2, okay? And here, your x value will be equal. So you'll get same value twice. And if your d is less than 0, you're not going to get a real root. You will get imaginary number I plus minus I x1 and x2. Now, the real life applications of quadratic equation are they're used in motion equation, business profits, geometry, and engineering problems. This covers the entire chapter of quadratic equation. Here are some of the practice questions for you. Drop your answers in the comment and I'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, keep studying. Good luck. If my video helped you in your preparation for board exams, please do like, share, subscribe, and comment to let me know. Also, share this video with your friends and family who are preparing for their 10th board exams so that they can also ace the exam without trouble. Tune up for the next chapter in my next video.